my fellow comic book collectors. This is the Cover Price weekly review, several weeks after the weekly review. Okay, we're looking at a random week in a weird way because we record this before and then after and all over the place. But this is just going to be a really quick speed dating kind of thing. You know, do we love these comics or do we hate them or would we marry them or whatever? But Mark, show us the list and see what we got.
You've only got about 30 seconds on each of these, Alan. This is Aliens 5 from 19...
What's special about it?
What's special is that when this first came out, it was extremely popular, and Aliens 1 went to about 6 printings. But by the time they got round to Aliens 5, which was nearly a year later, nobody was still buying it. So the print run was much lower.
Okay.
So the actual number of CGC'd copies of this is there's only 38 9.8s of this compared to 80 of issue 1. So this is rarer.
So it's more like you know, I mean, I know Aliens is really liked. This is kind of like a run filler. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that'd be my quick interpretation on. Kind of cool.
Okay, here we go. Next one, we're going to fly through these guys.
Oh, I like this one a lot.
Okay, this is
I actually have a copy of this.
You've got this, haven't you, Alan?
Yeah, actually, the funny thing is, what I actually was negotiating with a guy that had 2 copies of this book. He had a 6.0 and an 8.0, or I think one was this, 6.0 or 5.0, some lower grade one that I was negotiating for. I was actually trying to get the cheaper copy because I'm cheap. Yeah. But then when he shipped it, he sent me the 8.0. So I actually got a discount on the cheaper one. And then he sent me the high grade one. I was quite happy. But this is the first appearance of Jonah Hex. Great comic because I really like Jonah Hex. He's just a cool character. Yeah, what can you say? Western meets a little bit of supernatural. Yeah, just a really great guy.
Yeah, so 9.8, crushing all-time high of $13,800 this week.
Oh, wow. That's in a 9.8. Yeah, wow. There might be, because of the fact that what's his name, James Gunn, is doing a lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of talk that maybe Jonah Hex might come back in some form.
Possibly. Yeah. You know, it says here on an interesting side, Jonah Hex actually faced and defeated the Court of Owls in All-Star Western Volume 3, Issue 9.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I might look out for that one. Right.
Cool.
Amazing Spider-Man 4, first appearance of Silk, and this is the J. Scott Campbell variant.
Yeah, so I there's a couple things going for this one. It's just a sexy cover. Like, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to go. So keep going. We'll get another show.
Okay, so this one is sexy cover. J. Scott Campbell collectors will chase this one down. It's probably super rare, comparatively. Definitely, and it's also a key first appearance. Yeah. So you mix all those together, and you got a hot book. Yeah.
I have the Ramos variant of this, which is
oh wow, that's a bigger book, I think.
Yeah.
It's huge. Okay, well.
Okay, this one's fun. I've got this. I didn't realize it was worth anything. This is Spider-Man 202, which has got
I think this is a Punisher Spider-Man crossover.
Correct. So correct. Yeah.
So this one is just hot because anything Punisher potentially crossing over into something else is hot. Like I saw the other big hot one was Punisher Daredevil. So this is kind of in that same vein. They're thinking that Spider-Man will maybe make an appearance somehow, or Punisher make appearance. It's like one of those kind of crossover kind of situations where it's hot for that reason, I imagine.
Okay. Yeah. It's something to do with Lego.
Bionicle! Oh my goodness. My nephew used to torture me with Bionicle.
Well, I hope you still got them, because you can get $275 for a near mint copy of this.
So I think this is like like millennial nostalgia. So when he was kid, like my nephew was a millennial.
Yeah.
When he was really young, he would tell me the whole story of Bionicle, and it was like this really elaborate story, and like just totally not interesting. Um, I was like, this is like the lamest thing ever. But he loved it. And I think a lot of like the millennials probably would be nostalgic to it, and it would be one of those books that would come up in value just for that reason, that people they would go back and try to find out what's the first appearance of Bionicle and all that kind of stuff. That's why if you ever look at books, always go back 20 to 30 years, and what were people like as kids reading and enjoying at that time or watching on TV, and those are the books that will be hot now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that 20, 30 year gap. And so this is kind of fitting into that.
I'm gonna skip this one. This is the first black superhero with his own title. Apparently before.
Yeah, actually, I know this book,
Right.
Eben. It's really rare, extremely rare book. Yeah, so this one is like, I think it was like self-published, like just a really hard book to find. Um, yeah, so this one,
It's
collectors.
a very tough book to find. Yeah.
Yeah, like I know a bunch of like collectors that focus on black characters.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're like a lot of like you might not have this as much in the UK, but in the US, there's a lot of black identity and black, kind of, if you're black in America, you kind of chase after these kind of books.
Right.
So there's a lot of that where they, and they drive the prices up for these books. Like, these books can go for a big amount of money because they're super rare.
Okay. Interesting. Um,
Oh wow, this is one that I was going to mention on a previous video that we did.
uh,
This is the first appearance of Savage Dragon.
oh, that's right. This is what I was referring to as well. He appears as Dragon or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to be a little bit careful with this book because there was a recent reprint of this book.
Oh, okay.
And I've seen it where people list it, and they only mention in the description of the of the thing that it's a reprint. But
Yeah,
the
it says there's
original,
only 5 of this on the CGC census.
yeah, it's insanely rare. Um, but there are reprints out there, so you got to be a little bit careful. Yeah, it usually goes for thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I've seen raw copies go for 2 to 3 thousand.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, and this is F Everyone. I think this was optioned recently or something like that. I don't know much about it, to tell you the truth, but yeah, it was, yeah. And EverQuest. So actually, I was looking for this book. This is just a
Okay.
rare book. It's actually, I don't know if it's actually the first appearance of EverQuest in comics, but EverQuest was a online game that people really got into.
Oh,
Again,
that's
it's,
right. Yes, that's where I recognize it from. Yeah, this is a
yeah,
era as Bionicle, isn't it? Early two.
yeah. Again, see, it's that. So EverQuest, just so you know, it was huge as an online gaming thing, MMORG, um, PG, I should say. It's just a huge, huge thing. Like I had roommates that would play it, and they'd play it all day, and it drove me nuts because this was back in the days of dial-up. Uh, like they just like, they would, so you couldn't use the phone and stuff. It was just drove me nuts. But it's a really popular game.
And finally, we've got Hulk 16, Ed McGuinness, Deadpool, 1 in 200 from
So
2000.
this is the first appearance of the Red Hulk,
Oh, okay.
but this is the rare 1 in 300 variant.
1 in 200, yeah.
Or 100, 200. I mean, so what happened was, there wasn't that many people that were ordering this book in mass, and then to get it as one in that ratio, because it's like 16, right? It's Hulk 16,
Yeah,
right?
correct. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so just there wasn't like comic book shops ordering this. So what happened is that you'd only get it as a ratio variant. So how many comic shops would be ordering Hulk 16 in 200 or more, right? You know, it's just
Very few.
it's a rare, so it's a very rare book. Red Hulk is going to be played by Harrison Ford
That's right.
in the next movie. So
All
all
by
that combined,
all by his daughter.
or by his daughter? Are you joking there? So yeah, so definitely a book that is hot for those reasons, but also super rare, just hard to find.
Okay, that's a lot for this show, Alan.
Yeah, yeah, that's it for this show. But we're actually going to look at 5 more on Mark's channel, and these are always interesting because we have no idea what's going to be, and it's usually stuff that's a little bit under the radar. So definitely go over to Mark's channel and check out the rest of the list on his channel. Thanks.
Cheers,
Bye.
guys.